competition. We do have two very well-seasoned judges tonight. We have Cindy and Jim Rada. Cindy from Teton County Library. Jim is an actual judge, so he's got plenty of professional experience judging you. So we will be taking our top 3 stories and giving some prizes away at the end, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. Reminders about the judging criteria. Your stories must be true. You may not use notes. You must incorporate the theme of rumors and lies, and then you'll be judged on your overall storytelling technique. When you get to the 1 minute left sign, Leah has something she's going to show you. I think it's actually, yeah, there we go. Or makes sense. Our 1 minute left sign. And then when you get to the 5 minute sign, you will hear the maraca. There you go. You don't have to like shut it down, but definitely start wrapping it up at that 5 minute mark. So if we have up to 5 storytellers, we'll go to 5. Otherwise, if it's less than that, we'll do as many as we have. As always, we definitely have those Mad Libs, which if you pop into the chat, you can see them there. There's a link to each of the 2 Mad Libs. They're, again, totally anonymous, so you can put whatever you want in there, and I'll fill in a little space in between our storytellers with your answers. And again, whatever you want in there. Before we get going too far into this, just for those of you who might be new to Zoom, you can change the view from the top right. If you scroll over the view button, you can do everybody or just the speaker. You can mute yourself in the bottom left, stop your video if you don't want to be on camera. And then that chat button down below is going to be how you communicate with us and anyone else. So that is also how you're going to let us know that you want to tell a story. So if anybody wants to tell a story, well, there's 2 ways. You can throw your name in the chat and say, I'd like to tell a story. I'll put your name on a piece of paper, the magically disappearing piece of paper, and I'll put it in the bucket and choose them randomly. Or you can simply just like, well, I don't see everybody, so maybe put it in the chat because I don't want to rely on seeing you wave your hand or something. I might miss you. Don't forget, you can use those reactions too on the bottom of the Zoom page or screen. There's the reactions button. So when we have people telling stories, they're definitely putting themselves on the line. Leah just hit one. So we want to encourage these people. We want to create a really welcome and encouraging atmosphere, which it always is. So well done to everybody who is a part of the Story Slam family. So let's keep up that awesome energy. We won't be able to hear a lot, so it's a little awkward, whatever. It's our virtual meeting days, but I'll definitely make some noise and you guys can snap and clap and hit those digital reactions all you want. Leah will be the one making sure you're unmuted. Like if your name gets pulled and you want to tell a story, she'll unmute you and mute you, and so you don't have to worry about that. Let's see, moving on. Our 2 Mad Libs tonight. I lied about blank because of blank. And then the other one is blank told me that blank told them that blank. That's a good one. That's like an entire story in a Mad Lib. And I'm looking in, we have a whopping 1 response. So if you guys want to hit those links and fill those out, that would be great. So storytelling tips, reminders, this is not group therapy. It's not stand-up comedy. We'll hopefully hear some funny stories. But the more genuine and vulnerable you are, the more engaging your story will be. And the more people are definitely going to be into your story and supportive of your story. So just let it all rip. And I assure you, this is a very supportive and encouraging audience. Even if they're totally silent, they're going to be totally into what you're saying. So we talked about Cindy and Jim Rada, our judges. Thank you again. We also have Leah Schlachter, our producer. She is the timekeeper. We went through that. And then lastly, don't forget, you can follow along with what's the Teton County Library has going on their Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest pages. And again, that will be where we, that will be where we announce, when and where we're doing the next Story Slam. And if you're just joining in, we are hoping that this is the last virtual slam and that the next one we do is in public this summer. So that would be pretty exciting. If you're tuning in from outside of Jackson, it's maybe not as exciting, but if you're in Jackson, we can get together, hopefully, if all things go according to plan. So I see some names popping up. Let's see, Amy King. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna put Amy's name in there. Thank you, Amy. And then, all right, if there's anyone else, you can either direct message me or you can put it into the chat. I'm just doing another check. Okay, I don't see anything yet, but those links are there to the Mad Libs. So please fill those out and we will read them as they come in. Be creative. The more creative you guys are, the more fun they are to read. All right. Wet the whistle a little bit here. I think I nailed all my speaking points. Hard not to, and I have it printed out right in front of me. So let's kick it off. All right. In the winter of 2005, 2006, the biggest topic of conversation in Teton Village, Wyoming, was the decommissioning of the aerial tram at Jackson Hole Mountain Resort. So after 40 years of shuttling skiers and snowboarders to the top of Rendezvous Mountain, JHMR was replacing the tram with a larger, more advanced version, and that was going to be the last season. In that winter, I was bartending at the Village Cafe, and if you're not familiar with the Village Cafe, it was like the Cheers of Teton Village. If you're not familiar with a Cheers reference, it was like the place where all the locals came to gather and celebrate another awesome day on the mountain and have a tall boy, a PBR, a shot of whiskey, and an awesome slice of pizza. It was the spot. And so I was in there one day and I'm hanging out with my buddy, Jesse Resin, and we were talking about how cool it would be if there was like some huge celebration on the last day of the village to kind of send off the tram. And then we were like, whoa, well, Dom, our friend Dom Gagliardi, he owned the Village Cafe, but he also was a music booker. And we were talking about how, okay, we got to get Dom to book some like huge name act that would like really like be like this awesome surprise show and send the tram off like the way it deserves, like the Beastie Boys. So Jesse and I latched onto this idea, and like, it was such a stupid little inside joke. Yes, Sharif, yes, sir. It was such a stupid inside joke, but every time we'd see each other, which was like numerous times a day, every time we were at the VC, we'd always be like, yo, did you hear the Beastie Boys are playing the last day of the tram? The other person, whoever started, would be like, no way, that's so rad. And we'd be like yelling it over a crowd or down the bar to one another. And every single time one of us would say it, we'd act just as surprised about the possibility of the Three Bad Brothers you know so well playing a live show at the base of Jackson Hole Mountain Resort. So we beat this joke to death over the course of the next week or so. And then I started to notice something happening. I was like bartending, and I would hear other people talking about the Beastie Boys playing on the last day of the village. So I reconnected with Jesse. I'm like, are you noticing, you picking up what's going on here? And he's like, I am. It's amazing. We have to keep it going. So we did. So Jesse and I, every opportunity we had, we would talk about the Beastie Boys show on the last day of the village to celebrate the tram. And we'd always like make sure we were talking just loud enough for whoever was in earshot to totally hear the news. And, you know, at a certain point, like our job was done. The Beastie Boys train had left the station and was barreling towards closing day. So, you know, we started hearing people around the VC, like one guy I remember, he's like, no, my buddy works in the music industry. It's totally happening. And, you know, being a bartender at the VC, or maybe a bartender anywhere, you're like the definitive source for whatever question someone has. And I'd get asked multiple times, like, so any truth to the Beastie Boys playing on closing day? Yep, 100%, totally confirmed. I know the guy who booked them. So, you know, this was like spreading like wildfire. People were talking about it at the VC, on the bus, in the lift lines, on the lifts, like it was everywhere. And then someone I know who worked at a hotel told me that like multiple hotels in the village, the management were having staff meetings with their employees, pleading with them to stop telling the guests that the Beastie Boys are playing. They are not playing. So then you'd start to hear these little like these little like rumors pop up, like someone would grab like one tiny little clue and it was like instantly fact. Like the guy was like, oh, they moved a bunch of ski racks last night. I think that's where they're putting the stage. Or my favorite was the guy sitting there talking to his buddies and he's like, so the Beastie Boys are playing in Denver the night before the Village closes, and they haven't announced where they're playing on the same day as the Village is closing. So they got to be doing a surprise show in Teton Village. Well, I actually looked that one up. Not only were the Beastie Boys not playing in Denver the night before the Village closed, they weren't even on tour. So closing day came, people celebrated. The line for the tram was longer than it has ever been. And the Beastie Boys didn't show up. So Jesse and I quietly celebrated how our stupid little inside joke from 2 months prior had totally snowballed into what was now the biggest topic of conversation in Teton Village. And to top it off, on the Monday after the Village closed, on the cover of the Jackson Hole Daily, there was an article about the tram and about the end of an era. And in that article was a blurb about how rumors of a surprise Beastie Boys concert did not materialize. So thanks, everybody. If you ever heard that rumor, now you know.
Yeah. Definitely didn't fall for it, but know very well about that whole story and had no idea it was you and Jesse.
It was Jesse and I. Yep, that was a good one. We impressed the hell out of ourselves, to be honest. Awesome, everyone. Another call out to, is there anyone else who would like to tell a story? We may have a shorter show tonight than normal, but we've got one name in the bucket right now, one awesome name. Let me, while you're thinking about it, if you want to put your name in the chat, I'm going to look over here and see what we've got on the Google Forms. Okay. We got a couple there. We've got a couple responses here. I'll read one here. This is one of the Mad Libs. You told me that I told them that cats are fun. Another inside joke. All right, here's another one from the other side of things. I lied about having an STD because I didn't want to sleep with her. Who hasn't done that? All right, anyone else have a story about a rumor or a lie that is true? Complicated theme tonight. If not, I'm going to pick our first and possibly final name. If you do have this is more about hearing the story. So if you do all of a sudden, shotgun a tall boy, take a shot and pound some pizza and you're feeling up to it, throw your name in the chat and we'll get you in there. But right now we're going to go to our one other storyteller. Please welcome Amy King.
She works at the library and she was our judge last.
Yeah, Amy, awesome.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Amy. Thanks for having me. This is a story about pornography and a bicycle shop. So I was the only girl working in this bicycle shop. It was the summer after my freshman year of college. And I love bicycle shops. And my job there was really just like fixing flat tires and selling bikes to the incoming freshmen, like really terrible bikes, but it was really fun. And I loved all the guys that I worked with. There was Andrew, who was kind of my age, and he and I had like witty banter all the time. My manager was Chris, and he was great. He was probably like in his 40s and like looked exactly like you'd expect a person in a bike shop to look, kind of like sinewy and tanned and like always playing outside. And our boss, the shop owner, his name was Keith, and he wasn't your typical like bike shop bro. He was definitely just kind of an odd character. Pretty like heavy set and older, probably in his 60s, like really long, greasy, gray hair. And he just reeked of cigarettes all the time. So he always kind of like gave me some creepy vibes, but I was like, yeah, whatever, it's great. And he writes my paychecks, so oh well. And then kind of later in the summer, we started having some extra help come on to prepare for the arrival of all of the freshmen. So some other folks, like I think it was Zane and then this guy Pete, and they were great too, super fun. Pete was a real funny dude. We like had a great time moving bikes around and like chatting all the day. So one day towards the end of the summer, I was working like with Pete. We were like moving some bikes around outside, and we kind of wrapped up what we were doing there. And I went over to Andrew and Zane, who were working just like across the way. And as I wandered over to them, I caught the tail end of a conversation that they were having. And I heard them say that Keith was a pornography reviewer. And so I kind of was like, wait, what did you say? Did you say he's a pornography reviewer? And they're like, yeah, he's like the Rotten Tomatoes of porn. And I was like, what? So I'm thinking like my boss, the person who writes my paychecks, also on the side reviews pornography professionally. So I'm like a little creeped out, a little like weird about it, but the summer is almost over and I realized like, you know, I can probably coast through. I'm going to be quitting this job when school starts anyway. So the summer ends, months pass, and I am sitting with my roommate and she's telling me about a project she's working on where she's trying to like target and minimize human trafficking, the like human trafficking industry, by like reaching those people through pornography websites. And she's like, yeah, I just don't know anyone who works in the pornography industry and who I could like talk to about this. And it dawns on me, I'm like, oh gosh, I know a person who is a pornography reviewer. They're like the Rotten Tomatoes of porn. I'm sure they would know someone that you could talk to, or they could have the answers that you're looking for. So I'm like 19, a sophomore in college, like feeling so fired up. I'm like, I'm going to connect my roommate with my old boss and they're going to talk about porn and it's going to be great. So I like build up my confidence to like go back into the shop and find Keith. And I do. I like walk in, it's the afternoon, it's like pretty quiet. Luckily, Andrew's standing at the desk. And so just like a quick sanity check before I go sauntering into my boss's office and say like, can we talk about porn? I just really quickly double check with Andrew. I'm like, hey, Andrew, Keith reviews pornography, right? And he just bursts out laughing and says, no. Pete reviews pornography. We call him Porno Pete. And I was like, oh my goodness. So luckily that day I did not go ask my former boss about pornography for absolutely no reason, and instead did connect my roommate with Porno Pete, who was of great help to her, and it all worked out okay. So you just really have to be careful about checking your sources, and that's the danger of rumors. Thanks all.
Oh my God. Nice work, Amy. I mean, that's an easy, right? Like that's easily mistakable. Like Porno Pete, Porno Keith, like in passing, you could very easily mix those up. That would have been a way different story had you gone and talked to your cigarette reeking boss about how much porn he watches.
Yeah, I think about it frequently. I'm so glad that never happened.
I love that it actually had like this, like Porno Pete and your friend connected and it worked out well. Like it has like this really positive porno ending.
Yeah, it does. It's a beautiful porno ending.
When you were starting, you were like, okay, this is about a bike shop and porn. And you're like, so I worked in, and I'm like, is it a bike shop or a porn shop? A bike shop or a porn shop?
Yeah, I mean, really easily could be both. So it's on a college campus. I mean, what better market?
Right. They probably sell weed out the back door too.
Totally.
Well, nice work, Amy. Thank you so much for telling a story. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. If anybody else wants to tell a story, now's the time. We've got a couple more. Oh, Mom, you're in?
Well, I wasn't going to, but I don't want the night to end, so I'll toss my name in the hat.
All right. Well, let's see. Does anyone else want to toss their name in the hat? Because if not, then I'll just have my mom tell a story. All right,
Okay,
Mom.
here goes. Here's
There you
hoping
go.
that Jeff and Amy talk to me after this. So this is a story about a lie that caused a rumor, or a rumor that caused a lie, and a lie that went on for a couple of years. When my children were younger, my husband and I would go on a Caribbean vacation every year without our children. We'd ski for a week at our house in Vermont, drop our kids off at home with my parents, and we would go to some Caribbean island. And we discovered that St. Martin was our favorite island for the fact that it was a short boat ride away to other islands like Anguilla and St. Bart's, and because we loved French food. But when we would come back home and see our friends, and we'd be very tanned, and they'd say, "Where did you go this year?" And we'd say St. Martin. The first thing a man would say was, "Oh, did you go to any of the nude beaches?" And of course, we would say, particularly my husband, "Oh, absolutely not, absolutely not." Well, the truth was that one of the reasons we loved St. Martin is that there were very many deserted beaches where you could be without clothes, and we enjoyed that. So we would find deserted beaches and go naked the whole time we were there. And but every time we came back, and we played with the same tennis group every week for 25 years, one friend in particular, John, would grill us. "Oh, come on, tell the truth. You didn't get that tan anyplace. You probably don't have any stretch marks. I mean, bathing suit line marks." And my husband would ferociously object and say, "Absolutely not. No, we didn't go any of those places." So one year we took a boat over to Anguilla. You get which is a short boat ride from St. Martin. And we got off the boat, and the dock manager handed us a whole bunch of pamphlets, which I stuck in my tote bag and pulled out the map of the island. And we rented a car and found our way out to a very far end of the island. So we were by ourselves. We walked for about a mile. We are without clothing. My husband is taking pictures. So at one point, I am probably 20 feet ahead of him, and I come around a curve, and I am stunned because there is a couple walking towards me with clothes on. I don't know why I ever thought to do this, but as they passed me, I simply said, loud enough for them to hear me, soft enough so that my husband didn't hear me, "His name is Dave, say hi." And I just kept walking without even breaking a stride. So I'm glad my son is laughing. So I kept walking, and I suddenly heard this stranger say, "Dave, how are you? Oh my God, it's been so long since I've seen you. How's the family? Oh my God, just tell me about the family." So when I heard this, I stopped and I watched, and I heard my husband say, "Oh, everybody's well." So this guy says, "How long are you here for? Are you on Anguilla?" And Dave says, "No, Cam and I are staying," and he mentions my name. He actually says, "Cam and I are staying on St. Martin." So then the stranger says, "Yeah, I was just talking to Cam down the road." Anyway, the conversation stops. The guy leaves. Dave hot foots it up to me and says, "Oh my God, did you hear that conversation?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you know who it is?" I said, "I don't know who that is." He said, oh my God, what now?" My husband was very active in professional circles. He was in the construction business, the real estate business. He was president of the New Hampshire Realtors Association. He was very well known. For the rest of our vacation, every day he'd say to me, where do you think I met him? Do you think I'm going to run into him again? I'd say, I don't know, but you know what? If you do, you do. So we come back, our same friend, John, starts to rib us about where we went. Did we go to St. John? And actually, I mean, did we go to a naked beach? And of course, my husband ferociously denies the whole thing. And the joke went on in our tennis group for years about every time we went someplace to a warm weather vacation, where we actually going someplace to find a place we could go swimming without clothes. And I just would say nothing. And for years, my husband would every once in a while say, I can't picture who that guy was. And I'd say, let it go. We never run into really anybody else we know. Famous last words. We go to St. Martin on a vacation, and we are on another deserted beach, clothingless, and we are walking, and from behind us, somebody yells, Cam, Cam. I say, oh my God, holy shit. I turn around and I am looking at a woman that is my tennis partner in a league I play in. But then her husband says, Dave, my God, I haven't seen you since we were kids and lived across the street from each other. It was the most awkward conversation because the two men never looked at each other beyond their face. And we women were just laughing hysterically about the whole thing because it really was funny. Then we come back and we go to tennis, and our friend, now my husband was a pretty mild-mannered guy, and our friend, the rumor spreader, starts to rib him, and my husband explodes at him. We've never been to a naked beach. And I thought, I want for the rest of his life. So as far as I know, he still does not know that the man on the beach who addressed him was a complete stranger. And unless one of you tells him, we're going to let that lie hang out there for the rest of his life. My apologies to my son for telling the story.
That was so good. Good to know that my parents let their freak flag fly every now and then. No, actually, what's funny is this will be on the internet, so that's good. But you
We
can
can
opt
delete
out.
it if you really want.
You can opt out if you want. But what's funny is I'd actually heard that story from Dad's perspective, and it definitely wasn't a nude beach, but he still had no idea who the hell this dude was. Oh my God, that was awesome. I think maybe I heard you tell that story when I was a kid. It definitely wasn't as detailed, and I definitely didn't know about the second chance encounter.
That's funny.
But, well, that was awesome, Mom. Thanks. I'm proud. I'm even more proud of you now than I was 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I'm not embarrassed. I like that.
Oh, okay, good.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Mom, for jumping in there at the last second. If anybody's thinking about telling another story, we could do one more if someone was feeling it. I'm going to read a couple Mad Libs here, and then if not, that's totally fine too. It's been totally entertaining. Let's see, Mad Libs. Okay. My boss told me that your boss told them your Zoom backgrounds are world class. I'm going to assume you're talking about Sharif's Zoom background, which I stole. Actually, I didn't steal it because he gave us permission. Anyone here could use it. So Sharif, well done. You have enhanced the Cabin Fever Story Slam by leaps and bounds by your creativity. You're the man. All right, and here we go. Our last Mad Lib. I lied about your face because I'm too kind. It can be mean. It's anonymous. You can say whatever you want. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for your participation tonight. I'm going to let our judges go over the things that they have to judge, and we'll let that happen. I'll wait for a text to come in from Leah, and I've got a little bit more to tell you. But first off, awesome. Thank you, Mom Cam McGurk. Thank you so much, and Amy King for telling those awesome stories about lies and rumors tonight. We definitely greatly appreciate that. As far as our prizes go tonight, it is similar to what we've been doing all winter. So each of our participants will get one of these awesome Cabin Fever Story Slam hats. You can only get these by ending up on the podium of the Cabin Fever Story Slam. So if you have one of these, or if you have multiple of these, it's a big deal. It means you've got some courage and you've got some good storytelling skills. Second place will get a $20 gift certificate to wherever they want. It doesn't have to be in Jackson. And first place will also get a $40 gift certificate to wherever they want. So yeah, we can send that to wherever we need. As I was saying earlier, keep an eye out because we are crossing our fingers, and we're really hoping that with the way things are progressing, our next Cabin Fever Story Slam will be in person and outdoors this summer. If you're new to the Cabin Fever, we tend to do a couple outdoor slams somewhere. We've done them in Mike Yokel Park in the past, so we'll figure out location and time and date and all that stuff and let you know. So keep an eye on Teton County Library's social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. Facebook tends to be the main spot where you can, I've got the results, but Facebook tends to be the main spot where the event page keeps getting updated, and that's where the link is if we do end up going virtual again. So yeah, keep an eye on that. Otherwise, huge thanks to Jim and Cindy Rada. Again, they've been our judges many times before, and we greatly appreciate you guys sitting in the hot seat. That is, being a judge is never an easy job. So, and Jim, you probably know that because you do it like literally every day. So thank you guys, and a huge thanks again to Teton County Library, and of course our producer Leah Schlachter for all the hard work you put into making sure these events can keep going in this crazy time we're all living in. So I for sure, and Amy and all of us really appreciate all you do. Thanks so much. Okay, well, without further ado, I've got our results here. Drum roll. In second place with a Cabin Fever hat and the $20 gift certificate, Amy King. And in first place, Cam McGurk. Here, Ramon, you want to say hi? He's scratching. Anyways, all right, everybody. Thank you so much. A little bit of an abridged version tonight, but that's okay. We've got daylight saving time going on, and it's a little lighter out, so people are probably out there getting a bike ride in or whatnot, and that's totally great. We love you all so much. We really appreciate you being a part of the Cabin Fever Story Slam family, and we will continue doing these if you'll continue tuning in, because if you don't tune in, we don't really have a show, and I don't know, we love it. It's a really good symbiotic relationship. So stay safe out there, wear your masks, be nice to one another. Thanks for tuning in, and we love you. We will be in touch and let you know where this is going to happen next, hopefully in person. All right, everyone, have a great